right now. Looks like Team Malaysia will just take out the
Kita lanjut lagi guys.
let's see what Team
Game
Indonesia's
kedua.
idea is for their first
Indonesia versus Malaysia.
Actually go for the year first. That can actually
Kimi di Ben Grok, Isun Sin, Elkart, Angela Baxia.
Particularly looking on the side of
Gatot Kaca first pick.
So Malaysia is still open if they want to actually pick out that Yi for themselves, or they want to do the same thing where they picked out their own assassin jungler again for the first time for their two first heroes.
And Team Malaysia has the option of both Lancelot and Hayabusa this time around. Team Indonesia will just probably grab whichever hero Team Malaysia doesn't go for here. Eve with a Lancelot combo is not too bad, but the synergy of it is going to be a bit lacking. And they're also going to be needing to look for a roamer now that both Grok and Gatot have been taken off the table. With Gatot on the opposite side as well, Kalea is also not as viable. Looks like it's going to be the Lancelot and the Zeus.
Lancelot Jushin.
Okay, match selanjutnya. This is how you use your Jushin actually in Indonesia. So we're gonna show you how it is. So this is Team Malaysia picking up Jushin for themselves. So Eve is still open for Team Indonesia if they want to actually pick it up. Great combo coming in for Kacha as well. Even another assassin to be picked up if they want to actually take that Hayabusa as well.
Yeah, I think Eve should be prioritized. It should be Eve Hayabusa unless Indonesia really wants Lapu Lapu. That's the choice they have to make. I think regardless, they have to go Haya unless they're particularly confident that their assassin hero pool will still be okay going into the second half of the draft. Eve Gatot is just such a solid combo overall.
Hayabusa
with the
Uranus
instead.
Okay, I think pretty much this is kind of a bit of the repeat of the draft, I think, when they fight off with Romania, yeah. But without Kacha to be picked out, they actually had Lapu Lapu, Hayabusa, as well as Uranus as their combo, and they were successful. Great rotation coming in from them. They were able to actually control some of the movements from the early on. So this is the aggression they are looking for. At least they can be able to survive it out for the early rotation. I think they saw how what Malaysia was doing for the first round. They want to make sure at least early game they will not be easily taken down.
Picking Uranus at this point is still risky because there's a lot of fighters that can deal with it. Team Malaysia has the chance to lock in one right now. Something like the Esmeralda would be fairly safe. But the Hilda also slipping through the cracks. This was banned in the second half earlier by Team Malaysia. So they're gonna use it to try and threaten this Haya as much as possible. Once we go into the second phase of bans, Team Malaysia should start getting rid of mid laners, Eve being the priority. Indonesia probably wants to ban heroes like Esport, Alice, and Glue.
And see, not just Eve, Lunox is also can be also taken out as well. There's a lot of the focus right now can be done for Team Malaysia. So let's see who they want to actually take down. I think Iesf will definitely be the first pick to shut down first of all. Just sold out a little bit of the mid laner for Team Indonesia.
Yep,
as expected right there, Eve gets taken out. So Indonesia should probably ban Export in this phase. I'd be very surprised if they don't. Besides that, getting rid of other heroes that'll give Uranus a hard time is also fairly important. So those are going to be Alice, Esmeralda, Glue. Those are the ones that they might be the most worried about overall.
What about the gold lane though? I mean, we haven't seen Ranger so far. I mean, do we want to actually put out Carry here? Is it going to be a little bit risky even with Carry having a true damage to just burst down, to just shred and melt out every single for Malaysia?
For Malaysia, no, Export is scarier.
Yeah, definitely. But it's going to be Cho actually being picked out by Indonesia to be shut
Cho,
down. I
Diven.
think pretty much we did see some of the double fighter lane is quite scary as well to be picked up for the gold lane. So I think they're pretty much aware of how the meta is for WC.
Getting rid of Cho. So Team Indonesia either thinks this is going to be a gold lane Cho or a roam Cho. Most likely the latter, which means they think this Hilda is EXP instead. It is not too bad a matchup into Uranus, but it does end up being kind of 50-50. Then getting rid of the Cho is perfectly fine, because there is a less risk here of Team Malaysia going into double fighter side lane, so you probably don't need to ban B since they already have Zeus and Lance. That's not quite enough to go double fighter. Looks like the Lunox will be targeted, so full focus from Team Malaysia on the mid lane.
Let's see, one more to go. And you talked about how when it comes to double fighter, it really doesn't actually have the potential here in the draft
Lunox
of
di
Team
ban.
Malaysia, and I do agree on that because damage-wise, they still need more, so they probably will be leaning on there. So if Indonesia want to actually take down at least one more marksman or even goal lane, that would be probably a good case for them. So it seems that it's going to be
GG di ban.
for their side. Again, fighter prioritization from Team Indonesia.
I actually forgot that CC was still open. That completely slipped my mind at this point. Yeah, that is a perfectly understandable ban because this is a hero that can be flexed into both side lanes and would give Uranus a hard time regardless. But it does mean that Esport is left open. If Team Malaysia is okay with putting Hilda in the roam position, Esport versus Uranus is going to be very solid overall. I don't actually think they'll go for their second fighter here yet because there is the option to flex it out. What do I know, right? It's going to be the Lapu Lapu.
Malaysia always surprises off, but Lapu
Yeah.
has been a great addition coming in for the WEC. I think we pretty much have seen a great round solid coming in for the initiation. That Rivals Fighter comes soon. It pretty much is a great meta to be straight up used here for their semi-finals. But Team Indonesia, how they want to actually contest this out with Team Malaysia, they still need a little bit of that damage. So they pick up
Obsidian
here again,
Farsa.
as well as stealing off Farsa from the hands of Team Malaysia. Again, it is a little bit risky because Team Indonesia did kind of actually have a falter case when it comes to the first draft. They didn't have enough time to actually scale out this Obsidian. So let's see if maybe after that first loss, they will be able to patch things up.
Going for Obsidian a second time. This is a marksman hero that can punish assassins. That is the main reason why Indonesia is going for it, to see if they can cheekily catch off Skies. But it all didn't work too well for them the first time around, so I am a little bit concerned. The Farsa as well might find herself in a bit of difficulty since there's a lot of dive heroes on the opposite side. One thing that Team Indonesia can play for is their mid lane duo is very strong overall.
Xbox.
But looks like Team Malaysia will still go double fighter regardless of the lack of scaling. The Esport in the gold lane for a second time, which means they want to play hard and fast again for the early mid game.
Oof, this is scary. I mean, when it comes to damage scaling wise, yes, it is a little bit risky on Team Malaysia, but hey, this is where we say we're just going to langga. We're just gonna straight away crash everyone from the get-go, and hopefully that will be a great execution for Team Malaysia. Right now, we have one more point to go. Can they actually clean it up with them right here at the semi-finals? Only one can move on to the next level, and those who actually drop for this last match, or even they may be able to actually prolong our semi-finals, will have the opportunity to have the going for a fight with Team Malaysia. Is it gonna be the best of one, or is this the end for Team Indonesia? Give it up for World Esport Championship 2025! Can Team Malaysia go to the grand final, or will it be trampled by Team Indonesia?
Our defending champions one step away from making it back to the final stage of the WEC. And it is only their longtime rivals who will be able to stand in their way. Who will come out on top this time? Will Indonesia be able to bring out a second stage now that they're pushed into a corner?
I feel like, again, we talked about how draft-wise, right? Now we are seeing that Team Malaysia is just going to continue to keep up the pace, making sure that they'll be able to actually crash out
Udah
Team
diambil lagi
Indonesia.
orange
Going to
guys ya.
actually picked out. Nooms comes in, goes in for the dash, but it's not going to be enough though. Still, Stormy just tried to actually pick up one after another just to give a lot of pressure from that mid lane.
Now, one advantage that Team Indonesia has this time around is that they do actually have mid lane prio. Gatot and Farsa together pair up very well. Kabuki not having a good time in lane as is expected of anyone dealing with an Esport. Team Indonesia can take advantage of their mid lane rotational pressure. It means that Yums isn't able to aggressively invade. It looks like Skies will still try to be a little bit annoying.
Yes, Sakai is definitely going to actually just invade a little by little, getting all the gold crabs as well. Now pushing in, Winnie managed to scare away just safely there, but still, Team Malaysia looking better than ever, making sure that they will be able to put a lot of the constant pressure. Again, just try to actually make sure that Kabuki just don't goes over the line.
Skies is here to clear the wave as much as possible to make sure that Lolil can actually join the turtle
Aduh,
fight. So
lancinya
Team
datang
Malaysia
guys.
will just have the direct numbers advantage. Even if Momo hasn't been having a very good time against Iran, they have an Esport. Indonesia cannot contest here.
Ooh, barely surviving that, but Momo? Momo? No,
Aduh.
no, no, definitely not. But it is going to be a free turtle in the hands of Team Malaysia, right? Instead, giving a lot of the grounds to be covered things up, especially with the gap as well. But here on out, burning greedy just a little bit, also picking up as well. Federer Center is already open. Joe managed to actually move away with a shadow, but at the same time, a lot of pressure has already been done by Team Malaysia.
I think the timing from Joe could have been a little bit better there. If he waited for the Federer to break the Feraga armor, he could have actually entered afterwards with the quad shadow and attempt to take out Lolil. But it's still pretty even currently. Team Indonesia has been playing defensively, trying to make sure that they don't fall for the same tricks that happened to them in game number 1. Gold lead is minuscule, though slightly in favor of Team Malaysia.
For Team Malaysia goes in for the dive again, but goes back, just making sure a lot of the continuity of pressure going off for Team Indonesia. Malaysia, they know for a fact that early game, they can definitely push the Indonesia from the back and making sure that they just don't overextend.
And Team Malaysia knows there is actually a timer on their head this time around. Humes has not been able to get a lot of value out of this Hilda so far, and Team Indonesia wants to keep it that way as much as possible. They have multiple sources of mid to late game scaling, where once again, if they don't fall too far behind in the mid stages, we'll just be able to carry them through to the end game. But Malaysia...
The Kiss goes in for the punch-up, but missed out a little bit, so Kabuki will still be able to survive things out.
So far, we're seeing actually very good movements from Team Indonesia. They have adjusted, even if we're looking at some of the similar heroes from last time around. Not attempting to make overly aggressive plays onto the opposite side, even though they have a Farsa. They're playing defense. They're keeping themselves safe to play for the late game. They know that Malaysia is the one that needs to be creating pressure.
Here's the thing about Dangerous Grass. This is why it is called dangerous. You don't know where they are coming off for the fight. But coming in right now, they picked up Aran. Goes in for the punch and missed it out. But goes in, oh, will they for the fight? Goes out. Going to stun it off immediately. But can they actually go there? No!
4 ya.
No! Immediately shut down Aran. And now, living off this second turtle in the hands of Team Malaysia.
A good attempt by Iran. Survived for a very long time, but not long enough. This is going to be a free turtle for Team Malaysia. And I want to bring attention from everyone to Humes' positioning in that fight as well, specifically cutting off the backup from the rest of Team Indonesia and then
kucing ketemu harimau
that the kill goes through. Things like this are what makes the difference in those situations.
I like the fact that no matter how much they try to actually talk this out, now going in for the bottom, goes in for the puncher, Momo gets the kill instead, making sure that every pressure is done by Team Malaysia.
It's just something about the way Team Malaysia plays. They know how to get under your skin. As an EXP laner, you know, they just committed so many resources to kill you the first time. Surely, they won't be around a second time, but no, they're hiding for the ambush, especially when Aran doesn't have his stacks built up yet.
Goes in for the quad shadow. Federer is already open, but I think Humes will be able to survive it out. Shadow kills comes in, one last hit. Dojo takes down Humes immediately, but there's going to be just a little bit of trade for Team Indonesia. But Stormy on the other say, did you just take Humes? You are in the no man's land, my friend. Suggis comes in. He goes in, but the Esport comes through, and Stormy says, Joe, you are down.
There is no escaping from the eyes of Mage Prodigy himself. Joe finally able to get a kill on the side of Team Indonesia, but the trade of the jungler for the roamer is simply not worth it currently. Even though they've been trying to play defensive, Malaysia has already built up a 2k lead once again at the 6-minute mark. Next turtle up in 35 seconds. Indonesia's gonna need to slow this down even more, but it's difficult to do so now that Aran has been focused as hard as he was.
Now, trying to actually go in for a fight. Kabuki backs off, doesn't have much of the setup that is required for Team Indonesia. They're playing it slowly so far, but again, it's a kiss. I told you guys, you gotta call the police. This is a stealer right here. He is a thief. He keeps on invading every single corner of Team Indonesia.
And he's gonna keep doing it too, unless they can do something to stop him, which so far they have not been successful with. map control, even though it was being held on preciously by Team Indonesia before, is now slowly being reclaimed by the
Turtle
Malaysian
ketiga.
side. Next
Perfect
turtle
gak
gonna be
nih?
hard to contest. Joe is not even around. He's just
No
gonna try and get farm on
contest.
the opposite side of the map instead,
Perfect
giving
turtle
up
guys.
the objective once again.
The fact that right now, trying to do best to make sure that at least there is going to be a split push. Is it going to be enough? Though so much pressure has already been done, even on the side of the turret itself. We do see that the first layers has already been scrapped out by Team Malaysia. And again, they want to take things a little bit slow, but Malaysia doesn't want to.
Now, why would they? They know that they're strong right now. They know that Team Indonesia will actually become a little scary the later the game goes, so they're gonna keep pushing it no matter the circumstances.
No, why did you do that? Momo will be able to back things up. Takes down Witty immediately. Ezekiel,
Aduh.
just down Kabuki with the power to build it, but it's going to be Ezekiel to actually take out Yumes, but that's going to be enough though.
Satu
Two
tukar
kills in the
dua
blood
guys.
of Team
Tukar
Malaysia.
turret lagi.
Hume sacrifices himself there, but it's perfectly worth
Kita
it
lihat
to get a
level
kill
udah
on the
beda
enemy
dua.
marksman. And once again, Team Malaysia perfectly positioning the punish
Antara Joe
overextensions
sama
on the
Sek.
opposite side. Indonesia cannot feel safe even in their half of the map right now. And their tower is slowly being taken more and more. Joe, at the very least, is able to secure his orange buff from Skies this time. But while he's doing that, his purple is being stolen by Stormy.
For one trade and for another to be lost as well.
Buka aplikasi
Ya
Shopee,
ampun,
klik
Cok.
pulsa dan tagihan, lalu klik pulsa, klik flash sale, terus bayar sekarang.
Ya
Stay
sabar ya
tuned.
Shopee ya.
Also, that's a sacrifice that is needed by Team Indonesia. But what can you do when every single
Nanti ada saatnya
corner
kita belanja-belanja
is already
guys.
got out by Team Malaysia? Again, this is such a clean fight for the 8 minutes 24 seconds. Team Malaysia have proven themselves so powerful to a point that Team Indonesia never find the answer for them to back things up.
The gold lead still looking pretty big right now for Team Malaysia. Team Indonesia, they have the late game scaling, yes, but they do still need some control on the map in order to achieve it. And they're not even letting
Ah.
Witty!
Duh.
Oh, Witty was just shut down immediately. Again, this overextension that was done by Team Indonesia just falters. It gives so much of the body to the hands of Team Malaysia.
Free lot
KOG
sih ini.
was cancelled 2 times in a row there. That feels bad. Gatot Kaca is popular right now because he has ways of getting in and out of fights for free. But when you have a Zeus in focusing you down
Uranus
and all the
mencoba
crowd control that
kontes.
Malaysia's throwing at you, even the tankiest member of Team Indonesia is not able to survive. Without their Gatot, Team Indonesia cannot come anywhere close to contesting this first Lord of the game. And yet another objective goes in the hands for Malaysia without any form of contention.
The fact that Yumes was just looking around, making sure that the players of Indonesia just overlooking him, and he's just like, hey, hi guys, what you doing? And now coming off for the lot that's marching in.
Aduh,
It's
purple
going to
buff
be a little bit of
hilang
skill
lagi
involved
guys.
as well. They will be able to secure it out, but somehow Team Malaysia, they know they can be able to actually steal away or even break down that last turret coming in before goes into the inhibitor, but goes out right here. Now Joe, just a little bit of danger conscious comes through, as the case takes down Joe immediately.
That is just not worth it. You shouldn't be sacrificing your life to protect your tier 2 like that. There is a Lord pushing down bottom. We're 10 minutes in, and Team Malaysia might already be looking at a potential endgame angle. That's just how far apart the goal difference is looking at right now. Towers being taken down left and right. Holy defenses are intact. So Indonesia should be able to survive this push at the very least. But the damage done is going to delay their potential scaling for so long.
Holy defense already been broken. Lord can be able to clear things out for a while, but still, it's not going to be good. Fortunado's already out. They're looking for a way whether they want to actually go into the fight, but somehow they are hesitant. They're making sure there is going to be a
Bisa
distance so
nggak
that
nih
they
guys
can set
ditahan
things up
guys?
for the defense first. Clear out all the minions whip so that they can actually do a little bit of trade. But here again, this is just timing for Team Indonesia, and they're leaving all those space for Malaysia to just get a lot of their own buffs, getting all their stacks as well. So it's a little bit of risky coming up for Team Indonesia.
Considering the goal difference we're looking at right now, Indonesia being able to keep all of their inhibitors alive is actually a pretty good scenario. And even that is after losing all of their external towers. In Malaysia, continuing with the snowball, continuing to threaten every part of the map. Team Indonesia has to stay together to avoid being picked off. And even when they're together, they can't really find anything on the map.
Hilang lagi
Right now,
purple
for
buffnya.
the burning ground, can they actually go to? Federer strike has already opened. But it's gonna be
Mati
Joe
lagi
who will be able to take down
Joe-nya.
by Stormy. Comes
by step, the defending champions are getting closer and closer to the returning to the battle for the throne that they were at a single year ago. Indonesia, their chances are not
Mungkin
nil,
kesalahannya
not
di draft pick
zero,
sih, guys.
but they are very, very small. They need a miracle to happen, a massive mistake being made by their opponents in order to get the scaling necessary. They need to find shutdowns. But it's not like Team Malaysia actually has that many kills either. They've been pressuring sheerly through macro. And because of that, the gold bounties, even if they were to get picked off, are not as high as you would think and not sufficient. Team Indonesia needs multiple team fight victories in order to get the scaling necessary to compete.
Tapi kalau dari segi draft pick sama-sama bagus hero-nya. Obsidiannya mainnya terlalu di late game itu, guys.
AOG had to be pulled out by Weedy just to survive it out. Even Aaron seems a little bit lost there, doesn't know how to actually do a little bit of surprise element. And Team Malaysia again, this is where they're just punishing as well as pressuring Indonesia to just set things up for defense.
This is just perfect textbook play coming in here from the host country
Anti-curas, Gatot
representatives.
Kaca.
They are ticking every single box, fulfilling every single objective and condition to completely deny their opponent space on the map. And we can see that snowball coming up as a result. The Lord now going to be pushing in bot side. There are only inhibitors left standing, no holy defenses. It's a 10k gold difference, which means that the damage from Team Indonesia is still not sufficient. Haas Claws only just completed on Kabuki to try and keep himself in the fight a little bit longer. But Team Malaysia just has so many more resources, and the damage scaling is on another level altogether. Whatever happens here, Team Indonesia needs to find some kind of perfect engagement. And even that might not be enough.
Goes in for the bottom turret, right? This is going to be burst down by the Lord itself. It's going to be opening the door. Goes in for the puncher. Witty, half line, surviving that out. But again, they are being a little bit disciplined. But Joe suddenly out of nowhere at the mid was trying to do a little bit of
kita suka SRG gitu, tapi ini kan lawan Malaysia Indonesia, kita harus dukung Indonesia, yo.
In fact, it's going to be able to save Indonesia a second tower. If not, I think Team Malaysia could have taken that mid inhibitor as well. So that is actually the correct play being done by Joe on the Hayabusa currently. They're going to try and delay for as much as possible, but here comes more minion waves.
Fighter strike has already been opened just to make sure to clear the minions of wave. Coming in right now, Loleo trying to actually burst down, but still not going to be enough though. Now River Spider comes through, but they are going to jump right into the mist right here with Shadow Kill. But doesn't make it actually good damage. No, it's not going to be enough though. Still have a survivor from the side of Team Malaysia.
Udah kayak cinta dia, guys, terbagi-bagi.
But I like the way how the sages say, good job you, because they were literally rushing on saying like, jumps, go get him, man.
Of course they would, right? They're in a very comfortable place. They're feeling themselves. Everything's going their way. But I will give praise to Team Indonesia right now. Those were very solid defenses that we saw considering the goal lead. Keeping themselves as safe as possible, using their health as resources, and dropping in whenever they think they can do enough poke to maybe zone Team Malaysia back. Because of that, they have been able to keep 2 inhibitors intact for now. Next Lord is going to be coming up in 20 seconds. Team Indonesia might be able to hold on to it if they're able to keep themselves in place, but the ideal would be to try and maybe contest it away from Team Malaysia. They still have to be very careful because the bot lane is wide open, and Skies is already setting up the slow push into it. Because of that, they can take the Lord dance quite easily and consistently threaten a backdoor victory.
Bisa sih, aduh retri. Level udah imbang ya. Obsidiannya udah mati lah. Nggak jadi kontes dong. Rugi dong. Waduh. Harus cepat reset sih ini. Wah, end sini guys. Udah nggak bisa. Kecewa sih guys kalau kayak gini guys.
The defending champions return to the final stage of the World Esports Championship in spectacular fashion. They have systematically dismantled Team Indonesia. Not a single opportunity given, not a single mercy spared. This is the strength of Team Malaysia on full display.
Yalah guys, sampai ketemu di game-game berikutnya, Cok.
This is another history to be made